It's time for our biggest show ever and the arrival of the wrestler that we've all been waiting for. Heading into this episode, we sit on the brink of breaking out of debt for the first time, whilst on the cusp of reaching the next company size in the game. And it's also time for our biggest shake-up yet at Strong Style 20. And if you want the next episode as soon as possible, drop a like down below as we look to reach 200 likes yet again. Be sure to head over to the Patreon where you can play along with the save yourself, including where we end at today's episode, and grab the game from the banner at the top of TEWDB.com if you haven't done so already. And we're back in the save, and we're at the end of the month from where we left off last time, and that means we can check out how our finances went for February 2026, and it looks like it went really well, and we actually had our best financial month so far of the save, generating $1,474 profit. This due to a huge increase in sponsorship with the size increase that we had last time around. Ticket sales were $695, which is pretty good compared to December and backwards. Of course, in January we held 2 shows, so the ticket sales are naturally going to be higher there. In terms of merchandise, we actually turned over slightly less than last month, but once again, due to only holding 1 show. With workers, we spent roughly what we expected to, and overall everything else seems to be pretty much the same. There was an increase in production costs, of course, with us upgrading our music last time around to prevent us getting a fine. And there is a chance by the end of this episode that we actually go up to the next size, that being tiny. That's if we reach 17 popularity in our home region of the Mid-South, which would be huge for us. We're at 13 at the minute, and there's going to be 4 shows in today's episode, so we're going to have to go up by 1 every single time. And it might be tough, but it's doable. It's worth noting though that the last 2 shows of the episode will be in the same month, and I'm pretty sure there's like a popularity limit per month that you can grow by, so you can't just hold a show every day. There's a chance that that cap could stop us going over the line, but there's also a chance that it won't, so make sure you stick around to find out. And before we get into the first show, there's actually a couple of signings that I want to add to the roster, and we've also got some contract stuff to do with the wrestlers that we've already got, and there will be some departures from the company. So firstly, we're going to start with the positives and bring some wrestlers in. So we're just going to take a look at our shortlist because I actually already know who we're going to be bringing in. So the first person I want to bring in is The Butcher. Now he's of course worked for us in the past and was a huge part of the Strong Style Showdown, which was eventually won by Kevin Blackwood. He qualified by beating Brian Idol. He then failed to win the Strong Style Heavyweight Battle Royal to enter to the final to face the winner of the Junior Heavyweight Battle Royal. But what he did do in that match was eliminate the champion Michael Dante, which earned him a title shot at Strong Style 13, and now 5 shows later he will be returning. So basically I want to bring him in ahead of October's show, which I see as being sort of a Halloween special, and I've got a couple of other plans for it too. So yeah, The Butcher will be coming in for that, and we're going to try and negotiate his contract down first and foremost. So we're going to offer him 180 instead of 210, then we're going to offer him everything else as standard. So he wants 190, so we can go with that. I'd imagine he's going to want some merchandise as well, so we'll try 10, and it looks like he wants 15. But yeah, he's in the door. And the second signing that I want to make is an addition to the women's division, and it's somebody we've had our eye on for a little while, and if I can remember her name, we're going to just change the gender to female just so her name stands out a little bit more. But it is, of course, Kylie Alexa. So 22 years old, currently works for NWA. So very young, but she has a lot of potential. So if we look at her skills here, technical 48, so very solid in-ring ability for her age. In terms of psychology, she's got 50, which again, for her age is very good, and there's something to build on top of there. Charisma 69, but I think where she stands out the most is in fundamental and physical. So basics are 58, which is something that you learn over time, but at the age of 22, she's already got down. Selling 62, consistency 62, safety 70, which means she's less likely to injure people. Stamina 66, athleticism 66. So all of the fundamentals that you really look for are at least 60 and above, apart from basics, which is 58. So yeah, again, solid across the board for her age. And she also has the prodigy attribute, which means there'll be a stage where she rapidly improves. And yeah, I think somebody that could grow into the company for sure. She's easily marketable, so when we do eventually get merchandise for individual wrestlers, she will come in handy, and I think she could be a top babyface babyface in the division. And she's looking for $80, so we will drop that down to $60, and we're going to make that offer. So she wants $70. I think we can meet her there. She wants merchandise as well, potentially 10%, and yes, so she wants 10% of merchandise, and that is agreed. Okay, so that's incomings. Now, how about the outgoings? So in the last episode, we signed a bunch of talent for the Strong Style Roulette, which was a women's division tournament where we had 8 wrestlers involved. And basically, we want to bring our women's division back down to around 4 or 5, potentially 6, we'll see. So we're going to go through that roster now and decide who we're going to keep and who we're going to get rid of from the people that we signed, as well as the people that we already had in the company. So we're going to sort it to women's division. To help us with this, we're going to refer to the individual ratings spreadsheet. So we're going to sort this by only women's. And we're going to basically take a look at who's impressed and who hasn't over the course of their Strong Style careers. So, of course, Nicole Matthews was somebody we signed, and she's averaged 51 in-ring rating. So we're going to definitely keep her. Same for Hyan, who's averaged 41.5. And then we get on to Miranda Elise and Killer Kai, who, of course, were already with us, and they will be staying. Zeta Zhang will also be staying. And I think anybody below Zeta Zhang is going to leave. So that is Bambi Hall, Vert Vixen, and Trish Adora. So we need to offer them contracts that will essentially see them leave the company in the next couple of months. So let's do that. Bambi Hall, who has been with us since day one, she has had an opportunity to shine, but as you can see, her average isn't great. She has reached the heights of 43 in-ring rating. We can, of course, always re-sign people if we want in the future, but I have a plan for how we're going to write these people off as well. And I think, unfortunately for Bambi Hall, she will be one to be sacrificed, so to speak. So we're going to go to contract and negotiate her a 3-month contract with 1 appearance. So she will wrestle 1 more match, and then she will be out of the door. So we're going to give her that. Trish Adora as well is somebody I don't really want to get rid of. And it's worth remembering she was suffering from ring rust in the tournament. And she's only had 1 match for the company. I think we'll keep Trish Adora, but we will get rid of Vixen. Remember that she is available in the local workers section when we're booking a show. So we will be able to pick her up and bring her into job every now and then. But in terms of a full-time roster member, she will be leaving the company. And once again, we're going to give her a 3-month contract with 1 appearance. And that has been agreed to as well. So yeah, Trish Adora will get a few more chances in the ring, and we'll see how she impresses once she's no longer ring rusty. So what we'll do for now is keep her on her current contract, where she has 180 days left with 4 appearances. And then, yeah, we'll make a decision from there. But what we also need to do is offer contracts to the people that we want to keep around. So Nicole Matthews is definitely somebody that we want to keep. So we're going to offer her a deal. She actually wants 170 per show now. She's actually on 130 at the minute, so we will offer her that and then see what sort of her middle ground is. So she wants 150, so that's okay, especially given the sort of ratings she's been pulling out. I think she's our 2nd best performer overall on the whole roster, just behind Kevin Blackwood. More than worth it, I would say. Big addition to the women's division. It looks like she wants 15% merchandise, which is fine. And the second person we will be keeping is Hyan. Once again, she was part of the Strong Style Roulette and did well. She lost in the semi-final, I believe, and got a 41 performance, so pretty good. Definitely somebody that can grow into the company, especially with 24 popularity in our region of the Mid-South. So let's give her a deal, and we're going to give her the same deal as everybody else. We will offer a 70 just to try and get her down, and she does not want a pay cut. That's understandable. Okay, we'll go with 90, and yeah, she's more than happy to sign it without merchandise as well, which is good. Not like it matters at the minute anyway, but can actually sell individual wrestlers merchandise, it will matter. And speaking of merchandise, actually, that reminds me of something else I want to do. But before we do that, let me just double check that everyone's signed that we want to be signed. So we're going to check expiration. We're going to leave Trish Adora. Vert Vixen's on her way out. Hyan is getting a new deal, and Nicole Matthews is getting a new deal, and everyone else is already signed long term. And of course, Bambi Hall is on her way out of the door. Right, so anyway, as I said, merchandise is something we're going to be looking at in today's episode. So we're currently at level 3, but we want to start looking at getting to level 4 at some point soon. So as you can see here, if we get to level 4, it's going to cost us $750 per month, which, and I was doing doing the maths, if we upgraded now, say it happened on this day, we would only be earning around $450 from merchandise when you take into account $2.50 per fan at shows and $5 per popularity point per region. So yeah, after working that out, it's about $400. So it's not worth getting to this point yet, but I do think it's worth sort of making our way towards it. So if we use upgrade options and go to conservative, $35 per week to give us 2.5% of progress. So rather than going rapid like we have been till now and spending $250 per week to get there quickly, I think we should just turn conservative on and just sort of slowly make our way there. And then when we're ready to actually make that jump, we can do it quicker and do it on rapid. So yeah, we're going to do that. And I was saying there in terms of popularity points that we can't afford it. Something that I haven't discussed on our size so far is how we're growing internationally. So of course we're getting spillover in other regions from our popularity in the Mid-South. But because of our popularity in the Mid-South, that also means we've been spilling over into Mexico. So you can see here, the Mid-South spills into 2 regions of Mexico, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but you can see these first 2 here are free now because that is 30% of our Mid-South popularity. The same thing as well is happening in the other 2 regions because their spillover in Mexico is 40% of the rest. So yeah, Centro and Occidente, I would say 40% spillover. So that's knocked them up to 1, and the rest and whatever that is up to 3 because of our popularity in the Mid-South. And this is also a thing in Canada where we've gone up to 1 in Ontario, Saskatchewan and Manitoba. This because of our popularity, I believe, in the Midwest. So you see here, Midwest spills into Manitoba, Saskatchewan and Ontario. And that's 20% of whatever our Midwest popularity is, which is 1. So that's why we have a little bit of popularity in Canada as well. So yeah, well, not only are we growing across the United States, we're slowly and surely making progress internationally as well, across the border, just down south from where we are in Texas, as well as slightly north through the Midwest and even further north into Canada. So yeah, and as long as that happens, we can slowly start making progress in overall size, and then we can make that switch in merchandise once we have enough to actually become profitable from the upgrade here. But for now, we would just simply be losing money. And we've got a little bit more admin to get through, and we will get to the show eventually. But I wanted to quickly look at the creative meeting and see how things have changed now that we've got a few more additions to the roster. So you'll notice here that Nicole Matthews is actually our #1 franchise player due to her pretty good star presence and impressive charisma. And yeah, in terms of her appeal and ability to draw fans in, there is no question that she's currently our #1 wrestler, which is very interesting considering how well Kevin Blackwood's been doing in recent months and years at this point. Miranda Elise is also up there as our sort of #1 homegrown day 1 women's signing. So yeah, she's right up there as well. Vert Vixen's also in there, even though she is leaving, but maybe someone to keep an eye on going forward. And Brian Idol's also there, who we brought in as one of our heavyweight jobbers, but apparently he's our most marketable heavyweight, so maybe something to work with there. We have no next big things. We do have a hot prospect in Rey Mysterio 4. If we can sort out his personality, he could definitely be one for the future. In terms of talk the talk, Nicole Matthews is #1, Baron Black, and then Rey Mysterio 4 once again finds himself in there. So again, something to work with in terms of charisma and mic skills. Showstoppers is Trish Adora, who we are keeping around. Nicole Matthews, Mike DeVecchio, who's our new heavyweight signing, Miranda Elise and LJ Cleary. Ring Generals is Nicole Matthews once again and DeVecchio. LJ Cleary's in there again. Kevin Blackwood this time as well with Cody Chun. And for Hidden Gems, and I've actually already looked at this, there is yet another legacy wrestler on the list, and that is Phantasma Free. So Phantasma, or El Hijo del Fantasma, so the son of Phantasma, that is Santos Escobar in WWE. So this is his cousin, Phantasma Free. We should shortlist him and keep an eye on him. He's actually really good across the board. I think Mysterio 4 is higher in certain aspects, but I think like in terms of in-ring ability and primary skills, Phantasma's actually better, and he's based in the southeast of the USA as well. So potentially someone to look at, but I don't think we're going to sign him right now. Hopefully he can get some work on the indies in the coming months. He's only been in the game a couple of months and he spawned in January. So yeah, another one to look at there. And another thing as well, one of the last things we'll talk about is Jim Perry, who is very upset. Of course, he's one of our writers and he is upset because we brought in Vert Vixen, who is now leaving. But yeah, Jim is really angry at this point. And we did have a comment the other day from Steve Peton, or I don't know how to say that. He's basically saying that if you have 5 members in your creative team, it can give you a small penalty. So if we check that here in booking team, we have 5. So we've got Jim Perry, Hello Wicked, Brian Idle, Josh Cody, Joe Belcastro, all working under Michael Dante, who is us. Apparently, we might be slightly hampered by the fact that we've got 5. So that's something we're going to check at the next show. And we'll see whether it's worth just dropping Jim altogether. And if we do, that probably means that we're going to bring in David Marquez, who we've already talked about many times at this point. But yeah, he's got 72 booking skill and he can work as a play-by-play. I think we're pretty much on the brink of getting a broadcast deal with YouTube soon. So he's probably someone that we're going to bring in, and that will be at the expense of not Jim Perry, but we'll also have to drop somebody else from the team as well. So we'll work that out as we go forward if we do want to keep it to 4. So that's something to monitor as we get into the next show. And speaking of the next show, let's make sure that we're able to book it. So we're going to go to availability and we're actually going to move it to tonight, I think, Sunday the 1st. Normally I like to put it on the weekend because I think maybe in the game code there might be something to say that you get a better attendance. I don't know whether that's actually true, but makes sense in theory. So yeah, we're actually going to run it on Sunday night, Sunday the 1st of March. So we're going to get straight into it today and we'll see how we get on. And we will be giving nobody the night off once again. We're going to get everybody in the building and we're going to select a generic venue. For booking team meeting, we're going to take a look at the breakdown then and see if there's anything here about having too many people. So the overall total received a 15% crowded room penalty as it's a large 6-person team. That is a thing, but the question is, are we losing more than what we would gain by having the additional person? So Jim Perry on his own is generating a base value of 60. His team member reduction is 25% because he's not the head booker, and a 30% angry reduction as well. He's generating, 30 creative energy, whereas the 15% crowded room penalty is probably about that. I'm not too sure about the maths there. But I think what we're going to do anyway, because he's so angry, I think we're just going to get rid of him anyway. But for now, let's spend the creative energy that he has produced in this meeting. And we're going to get in fact, let's take a look at what we've already got. So we've got a creative finish, a big gamble for anyone, a Hello Wicked creative finish, which I don't know if we're going to get to use that tonight. He's not in a match. Hyan creative finish, where she has to win. I don't think she's on the card, and I've got no plans to put her over tonight anyway. We have a creative finish for Nicole Matthews, which we might get the chance to use in the next couple of shows. So I think we're going to get to use that one tonight. We'll see. I think we're going to just get another creative finish, see if we can get some ones that we can use on anyone. And we have, but it's a big gamble. Okay, let's mix it up and get a gimmick idea. See if we can help somebody's gimmick. So it's a bit of a gamble, but that'll do. So we'll take them two, and we'll go to locker room incidents then. And Brian Idle brightened the backstage area simply by being so cheerful and fun to be around, which is great. Rey Mysterio 4 was antagonizing Ace Steel so much that a fight broke out and they had to be pulled apart. Okay. Rey Mysterio 4, I think every show he's been at has caused trouble so far. We knew the risk that came with him, and we're going to have to fine him for this. I think we gave him a stern warning last time, and Ace Steel's pleased at the decision, and no response from Rey Mysterio 4 there. The locker room was a buzz after Killer Kai and Kevin Blackwood apparently got into a huge row over something and had to be physically separated. So fights are breaking out left, right, and centre right now. Josh Cody has annoyed Miranda Elise in his duty as morale officer. Ace Steel was training with Zeta Zhang and Vert Vixen. Kevin Blackwood was training with Rey Mysterio 4. Hopefully he didn't fight him. Several people have remarked that Nicole Matthews has been hanging out with Bambi Hall recently, and she's starting to have an influence. Okay, that's a shame because she'll be leaving soon. We're going to address the locker room because we had a comment about this as well. And this one comes from Vlexa22. And he's basically saying that there might be a way of intervening with Rey Mysterio 4 in this meeting while addressing the locker room to see if you can maybe get him to change his ways, basically. So it's either call out or interventions. So let's read through both of them. So call out a specific worker in front of the locker room, challenging them on their attitude and backstage behavior. If successful, this can result in the worker reforming, but if it fails, then it can sour your relationship with them and potentially make things worse. So I think that's the one there. Yeah, intervention here, that's to do with addiction. So I think we're going to do a call out on Rey Mysterio 4 in front of the locker room and basically hope he changes his ways from being the bully that he is. Your call out of Rey Mysterio 4 went badly to sour the relationship with him. Yeah, this project is not going well, is it? So that's booked in then, and this is the card for tonight's show. And we're going to see Nicole Matthews take on Trish Adora. So our best bell-to-bell female competitor is going up against Trish Adora as we sort of test her to see what sort of rating she can pull off when she's not rusty. LJ Cleary will take on Rey Mysterio 4, who will be making his debut in the promotion. And whilst we know what he's like backstage, let's find out what he's like in the ring. Mike DiVecchio will take on Eric Hammer, with the new powerhouse of the division taking on the 6'6" giant. Killer Kai will battle Vert Vixen in the main event, and this will be Vert Vixen's final match in the promotion for now, and then after there is a segment involving the two, and you might be able to guess which way that main event is going to go. But with that said, let's get into it. So we start off with a tremendous match there, a 59, and this could have easily and probably should have been the main event if it wasn't for a big angle at the end. But in a technical masterclass, Nicole Matthews defeated Trish Adora in 14 minutes 56 by pinfall with a Vancouver maneuver. And Nicole Matthews had an in-ring performance of 54, Trish Adora not far behind with a 51. Nicole Matthews' creative finish was a success, and Nicole Matthews and Trish Adora have great chemistry, which is really good to see, and definitely means this is a match that we'll come back to, and Trish Adora might have just earned herself a new contract. So yeah, 59 overall, hell of a way to start the show, and from now it can only go down. So let's see how the rest of the show gets on. And we go into the match with LJ Cleary and Rey Mysterio 4, and LJ Cleary has defeated him in 10 minutes 08 by pinfall, and this was designed to lift the crowd. And we only got a 31 overall, but actually considering it's a mid-card match, it's not too bad. But what is bad is Rey Mysterio 4's in-ring performance, which was 10, and this is his first ever match, so we're not going to be too harsh on him. He definitely needs to improve if he's going to stick around for the long term, especially if we're going to have to put up with his nonsense backstage. LJ Cleary though got a 42 in-ring performance, and Ray got an adequate for his scoundrel gimmick. We then go to the battle of the big men as our new powerhouse Mike DiVecchio has defeated Eric Hammer in 9 minutes 57 when Eric Hammer intentionally got counted out. So what happened in this match? If we take a look at the road agent notes, Mike DiVecchio dominated the giant throughout the match, and this basically caused Eric Hammer to retreat and lose in the coward's way by getting himself counted out. But he just couldn't handle it anymore. But it does protect Eric Hammer in the fact that he didn't get his shoulders pinned to the mat. He chose to leave. But yeah, we shall see how that develops going forward. And I think this could be a rematch that we see at some point as we try and build Mike DiVecchio up to be a dominant performer in the division. And yeah, I think Eric Hammer is somebody that can help him get there. So like we saw with Joshua Bishop, who eventually beat him in a cage match after a long feud. And yeah, 37 overall, so not too bad at all. But in terms of the main event, we've got a good rating to close the show with a 45 there, as Killer Kai has defeated Vert Vixen by submission in 12 minutes 15, and this was designed to steal the show. And Killer Kai there with a performance of 47, so solid stuff. Vert Vixen had an in-ring performance of 35, so not bad on her way out there, but Killer Kai with a big win as she heads into Strong Style 20 as champion and with all the momentum in the world. And after the match, Killer Kai refuses to let go of the hold as she continues to punish Vert Vixen. She finally releases but rolls out of the ring to grab a body bag from under the apron. Vert Vixen manages to pull herself to her feet using the ropes but turns around into a devastating kick to the head that knocks her unconscious. Killer then rolls Vert Vixen into the body bag before dragging her to the back. So much like what happened with Sandra Moon, Vert Vixen has been written off and killed, essentially, by Killer Kai, who sent her off in a body bag. And what I want to try and basically establish is if Killer Kai gets you in the body bag, you're done. And yeah, that's what's going to happen here. Sandra Moon is gone, she's done, and Vert Vixen is now gone and done. And yeah, this got a 35, so not bad for a segment. I think that's one of our highest segments ever, to be honest, when we actually use them, which is rare. But yeah, still, good way to finish the show. And we got a 46 overall. And that probably would have been slightly higher had the Nicole Matthews-Trish Adora match main evented. But I feel like we have the fans leave the building after the destruction of Vert Vixen at the hands of the killer. And we increased our popularity in one region. Hopefully that's enough to send us up to 14, is it? That's next. But yeah, solid show, 46 there. And we're going to address the locker room and compliment a couple of the losers. So we're going to praise Trish Adora. She did quite well tonight in her opening match. Helped by the chemistry, of course, and the creative finish, but nonetheless, she did well. We're not going to praise Vert Vixen because she's leaving, so we will praise Eric Hammer, as we're definitely not going to praise Rey Mysterio for, or should we actually? Maybe being nice to him could get him to turn, or would it just reinforce his bad behaviour? We're going to praise him. We're going to see how it goes. Next up, let's go to the financial report, as we only lost $373 this show, and we spent $850 on workers, which is pretty standard, but we did make $710 in ticket sales, which is solid. And merchandise is actually slightly up from what we're used to at 142 there on the night, and it looks like our attendance was pretty good. I didn't actually see what it was, but let's go to the popularity recap, as we have gone up to 14. Now, can we carry this on? And if we go up once per show, as I said at the start of the episode, we will hit the next size, but stay tuned as we hopefully do so. But that's one step closer to the goal of achieving that by the end of the episode. And I've just noticed that Nicole Matthews has left Strong Style due to contract expiry. Okay, so it looks like she only had one appearance left on her deal. Samoa Joe has left AEW, which is great. We can't afford him, but still. I wonder if that contract offer is still on the table then. And it doesn't look like it is, so it looks like we're going to have to make that again. So let's find her in the search. And let's see if she actually wants to speak to us, and she does. So let's get that offer in once again. I think she wanted 150 and 10%. It might have been 15, but let's offer 10. Yeah, she wanted 15. And let's get that offer in, and she should be signed soon. As should the Butcher, Kylie Alexa. And looking at that, Vert Vixen hasn't signed the deal, has she? Okay, so we need to make that 1 month, and then she'll be gone by the next show, by the end of this month. So yeah, we'll do that. Hyan's okay. Bambi Hall is okay as well. She'll be on the next show. She might receive the same treatment as somebody else has just received. We shall see. But let's get to the end of the month and see how we did financially. Okay, so Myung Jae Lee, I've just noticed, has relocated to Alberta, which is Canada, of course. Now, it might mean that we have to get rid of him because we don't want to pay for travel from another country, which will be $200, but it all depends on our contract with him. Do we already pay his travel? If not, I don't think we have to now that he's moved, and travel is paid for as part of the contract. Why has he moved to Canada? Who does he work for? Okay, so he's at C4 and Black Label Pro, so I'm guessing the C4 contract is what's persuaded him there. Can we talk to him and make him come to us instead? Damn, I like Myung Jae Lee as well. That's a shame. So yeah, we would have to pay $200 per show on top of his $60 per show wage. Yeah, that's a shame. I think we're going to have to offer him a new contract for a month. That really is a shame. Now, I will say that Myung Jae Lee was on the card for Strong Style 20 as well. He's on night 1, and it was going to be a pretty big match as well. Okay, but we're going to have to just get rid of him. I'm not paying that much money for him. He's definitely not worth it. I think, though, he will definitely be someone that we look to get back in the future once we can persuade people to move to us into our region, which hopefully can happen at the next size. He will remain on our shortlist, though, and we will keep an eye on Myung Jae Lee going forward. But that is another original leaving the promotion, which is gutting. With that said, the Butcher is coming in, so that's a positive, and Hyan has signed her full-time contract as well, so very good stuff. So Kylie Alexa, Bambi Hall, Vert Vixen, and Nicole Matthews have all agreed terms on their new deals. We do have a notification about Nicole Matthews, and we have an option of restoring her old locker room leader gimmick at the time of her departure. So it says here that it's a swagger gimmick, but it gives a large penalty to microphone skill during angles, and I think she's our best talker, so that's probably not a good idea. Whilst the rating of the gimmick is great. We do not want to hamper her skills. So we're not going to apply that gimmick. We're actually going to give her something else. So let's go and do that. So if we go to locker room leader, actually we need to turn her face as well, because she was a face last time she was here. And we are going to go to adjust prepared gimmick. And so she can play comedy, swagger, legitimate, and Weasley. So I think she should be legitimate, but let's get some inspiration first. So legitimate, face, exclude, unsuited. So that's okay. So here's all the gimmicks that it recommends. I think we're actually going to go with best in the world here. A character who is literally the best technical wrestler in the world, and the fans love him, or her in this case, for it. And yeah, I think we can go for that, you know. I think that sounds pretty cool. So let's confirm that gimmick change, and we'll see how it gets on the next show, or whenever she next appears. And now we just need Myung-Jae Lee to agree to his new deal. So let's forward once again. And there we go. Myung-Jae Lee will officially leave. And that means he's also had his last match first, because I'm not bringing him in for any future shows at that price. To be fair though, his last ever match for us was for the title. So was he ever going to be champion anytime soon? Probably not. So we left at his peak, which is okay. But once again, I don't think it's goodbye. It's just see you down the road, pal. So not only has Mina Shirakawa joined the House of Black, which is a great move if you ask me, but there's a couple of things that I did in the last recording about 5 minutes ago, and I just realised that the microphone wasn't working. So we just need to go over them quickly. So for the Butcher, he will be re-debuting in the next show, but we've applied that gimmick idea that we got in the last booking meeting to him. It was a bit of a gamble, but I think it's worth the risk, and he will be returning as a heel as well. He is better as a heel in his attributes, so I think it's just going to help him going forward to have that small boost that he will gain from it. And we've got a number of baby faces that he can work with as well. Not only that, but we also covered the fact that Malachi Black, so speaking of the House of Black, has signed a new contract with AEW, and it's an exclusive one. And this was something we covered in the last episode as a possibility. And yeah, unfortunately, he did sign that deal, which means he will be under contract for another 2 years with AEW. His last contract allowed him to work independent dates. This time it doesn't. He will be 42 by the time he's a free agent again, if he does end up leaving, which sets us back on one of our goals at the start of the series. However, with that said, he probably was a little bit too much out of our price range for any time soon. So hopefully in a couple of years' time, we can afford to actually bring him in, if that's a possibility then. So in terms of giving people the night off for this show, I'm actually going to give everybody that's not on the card the night off tonight, as I'm noticing a lot of complaints about not being on the show. And whilst the help section says that it shouldn't make a difference whether they're given the night off or not, and that they can still be annoyed about not being on the show, I'm gonna do it anyway, just in case there's like a smaller chance of them being annoyed if they don't have to come and drive to the building and travel over. So I'm just gonna do this bit off screen. Right, so that's done, so we can save that. We're gonna do a generic venue yet again, and the booking team is everybody minus Jim Perry, who's now left the company, and let's see how this has affected our overall creative energy. So we've got 128, so it's actually a little bit less than what we had last time, and we've actually got too many voices in the room yet again, as it's a large 5-person team, but it's only a 5% reduction this time. We've also got some poor chemistry across the board with Michael Dante and a couple of the members of the team, which is an issue, but Cody has good chemistry with Idol, which gives us a little bit back. But things to be worked on there, I think, in terms of the booking team, but I think we're okay for now. We're going to get some creative finishes in the can ready for Strong Style 20. That one's a big gamble involving Killer Kai. Maybe we could use that tonight then, so we're not affecting the big show. And we're going to get another creative finish again, and that one's a big gamble too. We don't really want those ones for Strong Style 20, to be honest, but maybe we can use them tonight, but we'll see how we get on. In terms of locker room incidents, Kevin Blackwood was in fine form before the show, keeping everyone in a great mood with road stories, which is good to see. Brian Idol was also in fine form with hilarious road stories. Ace Steel has been doing training with Zeta Zhang, and that's everything. And for Address the Locker Room, we're just gonna do an open forum. Once again, there's quite a few people unhappy, and Miranda Elise, Kevin Blackwood, Ace Steel and Ryan Davison got a small morale boost from that, so that's good. So for morale issues now, it's only Rey Mysterio 4, who might not be here much longer, Baron Black, Ace Steel still despite the boost, Eric Hammer, Cody Chun and Miranda Elise. So some work to be done there. So the card for tonight will be as follows. We'll see Killer Kai take on Bambi Hall as she continues to make a statement heading into Strong Style 20. Miranda Elise will take on Zayda Zhang, and the winner of that one will take on Nicole Matthews on Strong Style 20 Night 1 to find out who will challenge Killer Kai for the Women's Championship on Night 2. So yeah, this is a big chance for both of these women. LJ Cleary will wrestle Hala Wicked, and if LJ Cleary can win this one, he'll put himself in a strong position to take on Kevin Blackwood at Strong Style 20, and Ryan Davidson will take on The Butcher, and the winner of this will battle Mike DiVecchio in the first night of Strong Style 20, with the winner of that getting a heavyweight championship match on Night 2. So let's run it and see how we get on. So Killer Kai and Bambi Hall, who we know have great chemistry already, kick off the show, and Kai has defeated Bambi Hall in 15 minutes 27 by submission. A clean win this time around for her, as was her last win over Vert Vixen. Killer Kai got a 39 and so did Bambi Hall. The Killer Kai creative finish was a success, which is good to see, and once again they have chemistry, and this got a 43 to kick off the show with a strong start. So let's go. And after the match, Killer Kai once again grabs a body bag from under the ring, rolling Bambi Hall into it before dragging her to the back. So 2 months in a row now, Killer Kai has written off 2 wrestlers, and Bambi Hall now says goodbye to Strong Style. And it's got a 27, so not too bad. Not as good as the last month's rating, but it'll still do. And in a bout that had great wrestling, Miranda Elise defeated Zayda Zhang in 13 minutes 11 by pinfall with a quick cradle, and this means she advances to Strong Style 20 Night 1 to take on Nicole Matthews. And Miranda Elise there with a 39, Zayda Zhang actually outperforming her with a 42, and this match got the crowd hotter. And a 40 rating overall there, so solid performance from both. And we go into the match that sees LJ Cleary take on Hala Wicked, and it's LJ Cleary that picks up the win by pinfall in 12 minutes 50. LJ Cleary gets an in-ring performance of 47 and Hala Wicked got a 37, and LJ Cleary looks to be the number 1 contender for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. He might get a title shot straight away, but I might put him in a match on Night 1, much like I have with the other divisions, but we'll see how it goes. It might main event Night 1 though, so I don't know. But this one got a 45 overall, so pretty good match, and we go to the main event now, which is slightly worse. It looks like that creative finish has hampered it, but it says in a superb match, The Butcher defeated Ryan Davidson in 9 minutes 33 by pinfall, illegally using the ropes for leverage, and the match was designed to get the wrestlers to steal the show. And Ryan Davidson got a 40, The Butcher got a 36, and he will go on to face Mike DiVecchio on Night 1 for a chance at the heavyweight champion Michael Dante. And unfortunately the match only got a 48 overall, again not helped by the creative finish, which was a failure. This one was a bit of a gamble, but I thought we may as well do it tonight rather than on the big show. And whilst the creative finish wasn't a success, the gimmick idea was, and The Butcher got an initial rating of great, and both men were really off their game as well, which obviously didn't help. But to finish the show we do get a 39 overall, and hopefully we've increased in popularity in the Mid-South, which we can check in a second, but we will praise Ryan Davidson and Zayda Zhang. Both decent performances, especially Zayda Zhang, and we'll run that through and they're both pleased. And in terms of financials, we only lost 298 on the night, so slightly less than last month once again. Ticket sales 730, so that's going up and up. Merchandise pretty much the same at 146. But for popularity, that's the main thing. How much did we gain? Did we go up to 15? And we did. 15 in the Mid-South. And can we continue it into Strong Style Night 1 and 2 and get ourselves to 17, which would mean we go up in size? We'll find out by the end of the episode. And that is Bambi Hall gone from Strong Style officially, so that's 3 departures. A lot of departures in this episode, unfortunately, but the roster is starting to slim itself out back to an ideal size where people aren't getting annoyed about not being on shows all the time and we can actually use our roster well. But what we'll do now is skip to the end of the month and find out how our finances did overall, but we're already at 748 profit for the month. So I'm expecting to beat last month at least. And for finances for the month, we did do better than last time, 1,637 in total, which, you might notice, brings us into a positive balance for the very first time this series, which is massive. So if we don't increase twice to 17 in size, at least we've got the fact that we're now in the green as something to leave this episode happy with. But hopefully we can make it a double whammy by the end of Strong Style 20 Night 2. So let's break down that performance then, as we brought in slightly more in ticket sales. Sponsorship has gone up by 100 as well. Merchandise has slightly gone up. We spent a little bit less on workers as well, which obviously helped, and show costs were down too. And production was actually $5 cheaper, so that can't be bad. For financial estimates, we're now estimated to make $2,299 per month, and we've made slightly more than that, $2 more to be precise. So I've gone in and made all the relevant changes for the Strong Style 20 event to the 2-night event that we used last time for Strong Style 10. Of course, it will now be Strong Style XX. As for when the show will go down, we're actually going to be hosting it on a Sunday and Monday night this time around instead of Friday and Saturday, which means we've renamed it to Night 1 and Night 2. Instead of Strong Style 20 Friday and Saturday. Other than that, everything else has just been changed to how it should be, so it's been turned active once again. The multi-day event has been renamed to Strong Style 20, and so has the name. And the other main thing is we've changed ticket pricing to default, so it uses whatever's in our main setting, as we're not going to be charging premium tickets this time because we want to make sure that we get that increase in popularity before the end of the episode, at least give us our best chance of doing so. So that would mean we're using very low ticket prices. And for one reason or another, I'm not entirely sure why, but Kylie Alexa, who we recently signed, or she's known as Kylie Page in NWA, has left that company. So now we're her only employer. I'm not sure whether that's linked to us signing her, but I don't think so. But yeah, she is now only with us. I think that's actually a bad thing though, because she won't be getting as many matches in. But hopefully we can start to put on more shows going forward now that we're in the green. And in other Texas wrestling news, Xavier Woods, or Austin Creed of course, has actually now signed for Reality of Wrestling just up the road in Houston. He is also the DPW, Deadlock Pro Wrestling World Champion as well, which I thought is a great call from them. Maybe he's someone we could look at in the future. He's pretty good as well, so you can see why he's being signed up across the independent scene there. He works for both Reality of Wrestling and Deadlock since his WWE departure in December 2024, so more than a year ago now actually. Right, so I've already been through and given the people the night off that need it, so we don't have to sit through that. We'll also assign a generic venue for tonight, and in terms of creative energy, we need some stuff for matches, I think, so we're going to get some creative ideas in and hopefully we can use them. So we have one here for Ryan Davidson, if he's the victor. He's actually in a match tonight, but we'll see how that goes in terms of finishes, and we'll also grab another one as well. This one being a near certainty, and there are no restrictions, which is great to see. And we've got 43 points left, so I might save them for tomorrow night, or I might get a character idea. I think we're going to save them. I think that's the smart thing to do, and I think we'll leave it at that. So for locker room incidents then, Kevin Blackwood and the Butcher have butted heads backstage and both are furious with each other. Kevin Blackwood is a stalwart and the Butcher is relaxed, but not tonight, he's not. LJ Cleary got into an argument with Josh Cody backstage, annoyed at the morale officer's attempts at team building. We might have to remove the morale officer because it just seems to be annoying people, even though he's very happy at the minute and he's a people person. The people with bad personalities just clash, and I think we'll probably have to take that off, to be honest. Joe Belcastro was brought to Wrestlers Court after making a mess. Ace Steel found him guilty and he had to buy drinks. Okay, that's fine. And Ryan Davidson brightened the mood backstage after doing several funny cartoon drawings of his colleagues, so well done to him. And for Address the Locker Room, we're going to try team bonding, and then tomorrow night we'll do Inspire. We recently did an open forum, so I'm not sure whether that would work once again. Or maybe it would. You know what, we're going to try it. We're going to do an open forum. And Miranda Elise, who was irritated, aired her issues and got a small morale boost, which is good to see. And the same with Kevin Blackwood and Ace Steel as well. And it appeared on a different screen that time, not sure why. But either way, let's book the card in. Oh, it's starting to heat up now, so let's get into the card. Let's find out what's going to be happening tonight. So Ryan Davidson will be battling Joshua Bishop. Two baby faces, one local lad, going face to face. Big respect between the two, who can come out on top. Mike DeVecchio will take on The Butcher. Whoever wins that will take on Michael Dante tomorrow night at Strong Style 20 Night 2. We then go to that number one contenders match between Miranda Elise and Nicole Matthews. The winner will of course take on Killer Kai tomorrow night. And in the main event, we will see the Junior Heavyweight Championship on the line when Kevin Blackwood once again defends against LJ Cleary. This for the second time ever, with their first match going down at Strong Style 15, with Kevin Blackwood of course retaining that time around. And we kick off with a strong match here between Ryan Davidson and Joshua Bishop as Ryan Davidson picks up the win after defeating Joshua Bishop in 14 minutes 46 by pinfall with a frog splash. And this ended with a creative finish that was a success, which is good to see. Ryan Davidson, the worthy winner there, with a 39 individual performance, whilst Joshua Bishop got a 33, and yeah, overall 42. Strong start to the show. Now that was the only creative finish we'll see, as I'm saving a few for the final night tomorrow night. With that said, Mike DiVecchio has defeated The Butcher in 10 minutes 08 by pinfall in what is his arguably biggest win yet, at least against the biggest name yet, and The Butcher has been taken down by Mike DiVecchio as he is on his path to taking on Michael Dante tomorrow night at Strong Style 20 Night 2. And this one got a 43, with both men getting the same in an in-ring performance. So good match there, with The Butcher this time not being off his game, which certainly helped his rating. And yeah, solid match as we continue into the semi-main event number one contenders match for the Women's Championship. But first, before the competitors, Miranda Elise and Nicole Matthews, can get to the ring, Killer Kai's music hits as she makes her way down the ramp, dragging a body bag. And this one's got something in it. Is that Bambi Hall or Vert Vixen in there? Kai then takes a microphone and unfolds a chair to sit at ringside. She says this is the fate of whoever wins tonight. Strong Style Americas belongs to Killer Kai, and nobody is killer enough to stop her. And this got a 31, so actually a pretty good promo there from Killer Kai. She was rated on her speaking ability there, so yeah, pretty good for a promo segment in the company. And next up we go to About That had superb wrestling and great heat as Miranda Elise drew with Nicole Matthews in 14 minutes 18 following a double disqualification. During the match we saw Killer Kai run in and attack Nicole and also attack Miranda, and this got a 42 overall, so pretty good. Miranda Elise though has sustained a broken heel. It's not good for our short-term plans, but yeah, Miranda Elise had an in-ring performance of 40, Nicole Matthews got an in-ring performance of 51, and Nicole Matthews debuted her best in the world gimmick and got a very good, and this match got the crowd hotter, which is good to see. A 42 there, I think probably would have been better had the injury not occurred. We'll have to see how bad that injury is going forward, but still, nonetheless, a decent match on a decent show so far, but hopefully the main event can really carry us to a solid rating, so let's find out. And here's the update on Miranda Elise on the broken heel. But before we get to that main event, Killer Kai continues to beat down both women using a steel chair, the one that she was sat on, leaving them both motionless in the ring. Kai then drags the body bag from earlier in the night back up the ramp into the back. So Killer here really trying to make a statement on Miranda and Nicole, trying to warn them as to what their fate will be. She did interrupt the match, attacking them both, maybe with the idea of not having an opponent for tomorrow night, and it looks like that opponent definitely won't be Miranda Elise. We'll have to see how Nicole Matthews gets on in the next 24 hours. Maybe she can get the spot by default with Miranda being injured. Who knows? We'll find out. But the segment rating there was a 41, with a little bit of panic coming from the champion. But speaking of champions, the first ever title change in Strong Style America's history has gone down as LJ Cleary has defeated Kevin Blackwood in 14 minutes 05 by pinfall. And LJ Cleary wins the Strong Style Junior Heavyweight title. And this match here was really good with a 59 rating. Kevin Blackwood carrying the majority of it there with a 58 in-ring performance, and LJ Cleary had an in-ring performance of 46. And again, both had pretty good chemistry and the match got the crowd buzzing. So I just thought it was about time that we had a title change. We've been 20 shows in and there's never been a title change, only first champions being crowned. So yeah, the second ever junior heavyweight champion is now in the building, that being LJ Cleary, and I think he deserves it as who I would say is the second best junior heavyweight in the division, but let's try and mix it up and get some title changes going, and we've done that tonight. But Blackwood deserves huge credit for his title reign, and he is the man, and has been the man so far in this company, and we'll see how he responds to this title loss going forward. But overall, we got a 53 there in overall rating, increasing our popularity in one region. Is it enough though to go up another size, which would set us up nicely for that final show? We'll find out shortly. But in terms of addressing the locker room, we will once again compliment the losers of the matches. I think it was only right to start with Kevin Blackwood. Give Miranda Elise a little morale boost as well, with her picking up an injury there, and they're both pleased. For injury then, we can see here that Miranda Elise will only be able to work angles for the next 31 days, which kind of messes up our plans for tomorrow night, but that's okay, we can work around it, and she should be back for the next show, hopefully, depending on when we schedule it next month, as in next show is in 21, not 20 night 2. And financial report wise, we lost 644, so that's slightly more than last time, but we did have more workers on the card this time around. But overall, still, we are in the green overall financially with $194 in the bank. As for popularity, let's find out if we've gone up again, and we haven't. Okay, so we remain at 15 in popularity. So it looks like that size jump to tiny. Might just have to wait another episode, but still, we still have a major show coming up in Strong Style 20 Night 2. That should take us to 16, and it's going to set up the future of Strong Style Americas for a long time to come. So let's see what goes down. So we're going to jump straight into night 2, and I'll sort out who we're going to give the night off. We will of course use a generic venue as always. For the booking team meeting, we're going to spend some creative energy and get some creative finishes down. So that one's a near certainty for anyone, which is good. And we're going to grab 3 more as well. So likely to succeed for anyone, which is great. And another creative finish, likely to succeed for anyone. So that's literally perfect. As for locker room incidents, Ace Steel has been training with Zeta Zhang and Kylie Alexa. And that is everything. Let's address the locker room as we look to inspire everyone ahead of a huge night. And everyone is fired up and buzzing with anticipation. It's time then for Strong Style 20 Night 2. And it's a big night of action, at least in the heavyweight and women's title picture, as both belts will be on the line. But in the undercard, we will see Josh Cody take on Hala Wicked and Cody Chun in a 3-way match. Hyan, Kylie Alexa, Trish Adora and Zeta Zhang will take part in a women's 4-way match, which should give us a good idea of who to push as the future challengers of whoever comes out of tonight's main event with the title. Michael Dante will take on Mike DeVecchio, that with the heavyweight championship on the line. And in the main event, Killer Kai is going to take on Nicole Matthews, and this was going to be a 3-way match. However, Miranda Elise did get injured last night, so this is basically how we're going to work around it. So we start off then with a technical masterclass between the junior heavyweights, and it's Hala Wicked that's defeated Josh Cody and Cody Chun, so the two Codys, in 15 minutes 03 when Hala Wicked pinned Josh Cody after using a foreign object. So he's had to cheat here, but he did get the win. Josh Cody had an in-ring performance of 32, but was rusty, and we'll talk a little bit more about him in a second. Hala Wicked had an in-ring performance of 41, and Cody Chun had an in-ring performance of 40. Now this match was originally going to be Myung Jae Lee versus Josh Cody in a singles match. This with a storyline that involved Ace Steel basically trying to recruit Josh Cody, him eventually saying no, that leading to a match between Ace's client and Cody to show him that his training methods would have helped him had he accepted. However, Josh Cody was going to win. Unfortunately, Myung Jae Lee moved to Canada and the storyline was scrapped, and we're gonna slowly build towards that Josh Cody win once again. And he wouldn't have been rusty neither, because he would have been wrestling in the weeks and months that led up to this event. However, as I say, Hala Wicked gets the win. It's a shame, but we keep going. And this got a 38, so not too bad. And next up we go to a match that's rated 44, and Kylie Alexa has defeated Hyan, Trish Adora and Zeta Zhang in 12 minutes when she pinned Hyan with a fast roll-up. And Hyan got a 42. Kylie Alexa actually the worst in the match with a 33, but on her debut picking up a big win, and as we said earlier, there's room for her to grow in skills and popularity. Trish Adora got an in-ring performance of 48, while Zeta Zhang got a 43. Kylie Alexa debuted her princess gimmick and got an initial rating of great, and the creative finish this time was a success. Kylie Alexa was off her her game, as well as Trish Adora. However, a 44 rating is more than good enough, and we're basically banking on the main event to take us home here. I think we probably could have done better in the first 2 matches, but we've also got the heavyweight title match up next as well, which hopefully can deliver. So let's see. And it does. It gives us a 51 as Mike DeVecchio has defeated Michael Dante in 10 minutes 16 by pinfall. Mike DeVecchio wins the Strong Style Heavyweight Championship at the first time of asking. I feel like it's just time to freshen things up with the belts. Michael Dante's had the belt for over a year now, nearly 2 years to be honest, and he's lost to who I think should be the face of the heavyweight division right now, that being Mike DeVecchio. Deserved to win the match by his performance, as Michael Dante got an in-ring performance of 46, while Mike DeVecchio got 49. So impressive stuff from him. The creative finish was a success as well, which is good, and as I say, we've got a 51 overall. Michael Dante will be going down a different direction in the future, and he's needed for another storyline which doesn't involve his title. And now we have a new champion. And speaking of where the future will be in Strong Style Americas, Killer Kai enters the ring, dragging the same body bag from last night. She lets the crowd know that inside this bag is one of her recent victims, implying that it's actually Bambi Hall. So it seems that she's keeping her hostage, essentially, and she's bringing her down to the ring as a symbol of what will happen to Nicole Matthews tonight once she's finished with her. So 41 rating there, really good from Killer Kai. And let's get in to the match. So let's break it down a little bit before we get to the results. So the match is going on while this body bag lays on the floor in the corner of the ring. Killer Kai is about to win, but she notices that the bag is unzipping itself. She gets up, tries to stop it, the hand grabs her, and it's not Bambi Hall, it's not Averted Vixen, it is Killer Kelly. And this distraction leads to a roll-up from Nicole Matthews, and it's 1, 2, 3, new champion crowned, and the new Strong Style Women's Champion is Nicole Matthews, and Killer Kelly has made her return to the company for the first time since Strong Style Amsterdam, and she's here to take back what she thinks is hers, not only the Killer name, but the Women's Championship, the one she never lost. But that can wait. She needs to get Kai first. And after the finish, Killer Kai looks in shock at what just went down. This as Nicole Matthews celebrates cautiously, slowly making her way to the back. Killer Kelly walks towards Kai, who looks like she's just seen a ghost. The two go face to face as Kai's worry turns to anger. An intense stare down lasts for a while before Kai backs down. Killer Kelly takes a microphone and says, "There's only room for one killer in my company."